Power Division have been arrested at Jinja Police Station on allegations of injecting over 800 people with the suspected vaccine purported to be AstraZeneca. During the press conference at Nakasero, the Director of State House Health Monitoring Unit, Dr. Warren Mamara, said 90 doses of vaccines have been impounded, and National Medical Stores says the batch numbers are unknown.
A Ugandan identified as Dr. Francis Baguma, who is currently on the run and manhunted by police, is suspected to have duped over 800 people, including staff from corporate companies, by charging them over 100,000 shillings for a vaccine purported to be AstraZeneca. State House Health Monitoring Unit received a tip-off from the office of the RCC in Nakawa that a group of people are vaccinating against COVID-19 in places not designated by the Ministry of Health for this exercise. The unit, together with the Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence and Police, impounded 158 pieces of vaccination cards, 90 doses of vaccine, syringes and consent forms purported to be properties of the Uganda government.
Most of these institutions that have been either scammed or they got a wrong vaccine or something happened, it's because they wanted an easy way out, short-term gains for long-term issues.
The cards are pre-stamped with KCCA Chiswa Health Center, although suspects had cards that indicated they were KCCA staff. The authority denied them. The State House Health Monitoring Unit, after contacting National Medical Stores, discovered that the vaccine batch number is not among the 3 imported in the country.
This batch number is not known, did not come to Uganda, is not expected to be in Uganda, is unknown to National Medical Stores.
The plans to contact National Drug Authority are aimed at ascertaining the substance in the bottles rounded up. The liquid therein was more than 5 mils as opposed to the known international AstraZeneca vaccine.
Secondly, the top is so tampered with that it lends credence to adulteration and some kind of fake something. It's so dirty, it is so pricked.
The resident city commissioner, Nakawa Herbert Anderson Wurira, has warned the public against panic and involving themselves in matters that will cause more harm than COVID-19.
As the process is ongoing of verifying the content that is in these vials, if it comes out that the vials are not containing the right vaccines, the right substances, then these people are not vaccinated. And they will sit thinking they were vaccinated, which will make them vulnerable.
Meanwhile, Waiswa Robert, suspected to have been involved in the Nansana vaccine theft, has been arrested and held at Chira police station to help in the investigations. I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Gwetabinji in Kampala.
Now, Parliament of Uganda has constituted a 6-member national task force to coordinate with government in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. Unveiling the team at Parliament, Deputy Speaker Anita Among encouraged the public to embrace the vaccination exercise and standard operating procedures against COVID-19. Among also clarified on Speaker Jacob Olanya's absence from the public eye. She claims the absence has nothing to do with the ongoing rumors about his health, but rather an agreed upon working calendar of Parliament. Let's take a look.
The new Parliamentary COVID-19 National Task Force will be chaired by Bugweri County Member of Parliament Abdu Katuntu and deputized by Kazo County MP Dan Atwijukire. These, alongside other members, will be required to inquire into and report on government preparedness and response to the pandemic.
And when you look at the national team, we've involved a lawyer who can be able to interpret whatever is being done in the task force and get the legal interpretation towards what is being done.
In liaison with the regional parliamentary support teams, the role played by the private sector healthcare providers in COVID-19 management will be assessed. The 36 members of parliament from different regions of the country will be required to oversee response interventions in the specific sub-regions.
To assess the operation, administration, and management of funds and other resources appropriated for them at this time of the pandemic.
This will be complementary to other roles which Parliament has played before in responding to COVID-19.
Parliament has approved funds up to the tune of 1.08 trillion as a budget support to COVID-19 response. 2, Parliament has previously conducted field visits and oversight assessment of the health facilities in the whole country.
The unveiling of this team comes at a time Speaker of Parliament Jacob Olanya's absence has caused anxiety and curiosity among the public. This has been clarified by Deputy Speaker Anita Annette Among.
They voted for the Speaker of Parliament and the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. And we have a working calendar. And the working calendar, we agreed each of us should work for 2 months. And it so happened that I am the one who started. So after my time of the 2 months, the Speaker will come. So the Speaker of Parliament is okay, is fine. We are following the calendar that we scheduled as the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker.
Uganda first reported its first case of COVID-19 in March 2020. The country has since embarked on preventive measures against the pandemic, a campaign that Parliament has been part of. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Cabinet has approved a proposal by the National COVID-19 Task Force to transfer cash to vulnerable persons in urban areas who depend on daily earning, which has been interrupted by the COVID-19 containment measures. A total amount of 100,000 shillings will be disbursed to each person. Let's take a look.
As the second wave of COVID-19 intensifies, President Yoweri Museveni on 18th June instituted new measures that included the 41 days of partial lockdown to curb large gatherings and movements of persons to reduce further infections of the pandemic. Unlike last year, during the first lockdown, when government distributed food to the urban poor, majority in Kampala metropolitan area, this time relief will be distributed in form of cash to the most affected individuals. The Minister of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baliomonsi, led a team of ministers on the task force to brief the country on how Cabinet intends to fulfill this through the Office of the Prime Minister and the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development.
Yesterday, 28 June 2021, Cabinet approved the proposal that I presented on behalf of the National Task Force to transfer to the vulnerable persons in urban areas who depend on daily earning, and their daily earning has been interrupted by COVID-19 containment, a total of 100,000 shillings net each. The purpose of this intervention is to be guided by nature of occupation.
The categories to benefit include bus, taxi drivers and conductors, border riders, baggage carriers, wheelbarrow pushers, touts, traffic guides and loaders in taxi, bus parks and stages, and other major centers such as Chikubo. Others include barmen, DJs, barmaids, waiters and bouncers, bar, gym and restaurant workers, food vendors in bus, taxi parks and arcades, Artists that include musicians, comedians, producers and promoters, border riders, special hire and Uber drivers, saloons and massage parlor workers, teachers and support staff in private schools, and teachers in government schools not on government payroll will also be considered. Others will be car washers, slum dwellers, street vendors, shoe shiners and cobblers, orphans, and vulnerable children. According to the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amongi, registration targeting 107 households countrywide, 38% of which in Kampala Metropolitan, kicks off tomorrow up to 4th July.
However, I want to indicate that most of the data for these informal workers are already with the town clerks.
Minister Amongi further broke down how this money is expected to be spent.
Purchase of 20 kilograms of posho, and we have calculated a kilo of posho at 2,000, that gives you 40,000. Purchase of 10 kilograms of beans at 2,500, which gives you 25,000. Purchase of 1 bar of soap at 3,000. Purchase of 3 liters of cooking oil at 4,000 a liter, which gives you 12,000. And if you calculate that, will give you 80,000. Then we decided to add for you 20,000 for any other thing.
The Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Matia Kasaija, said a total of 64.7 billion Uganda shillings has been set aside to cater for the same. Other sectors will also benefit from the 600 billion approved by Cabinet for Uganda to overcome the pandemic.
So health, 206, they are taking the lion's share, 0.4 billion. Security, 50.0 billion. Relief, which Honorable Minister in charge of that sector has been telling you, is 54.7 billion. Then local government, they will take 53.7, and then ICT 8.1 billion.
They will enforce SOPs, they will support, make sure that there is no criminality taking advantage of the lockdown. There must be protection of lives and the property of the people.
Up to 1,180 COVID-19 patients are currently admitted to hospitals. The government reported 345 new infections and 38 new deaths for June 27, pushing the cumulative total infections to 79,434 and deaths to 989.
The good news, and which we want you, the media, to pass on with that majority of the people who contract coronavirus actually recover from it.
Bernard Higa, UBC News, Kampala.
Now, Chief of Defence Forces General Wilson MBADI has assumed office following his appointment by the Commander-in-Chief of Defence Forces and President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, last week. While handing over the instruments of power at Mbuya-based Ministry of Defence headquarters in Kampala, the outgoing Chief of Defence Forces General David Muhoozi urged the successor to be on the lookout of threats by terrorists. Philip Aguta has more.
The handover ceremony started by decorating the incoming Chief of Defence Forces from a 3-star general to a full 4-star general before he was handed over powers that comes with the office. The same incoming Chief of Defence Forces has been deputy for the last 4.5 years, and at the same ceremony, he handed over his office to the new Deputy CDF Lieutenant General Peter Eluelu, the former Commander Land Forces. The outgoing CDF, who has also been appointed State Minister for Internal Affairs, urged the successor to be on the lookout of threats by the terrorists.
In spite of these isolated cases of threats, we are generally stable. Due to the instability in DRC and South Sudan, and then of course the publicized hostility to the southwest of the frontier, we experience also sometimes episodes of insecurity adjacent to these borders. The UPDF has nevertheless effectively managed to counter all these threats, and we are in large measure peaceful and stable across the country.
The humble-looking general also tasked MBADI to work hard to improve the welfare of the officers.
Unfinished but are very important and require your keen attention. Welfare, housing for troops. The concept for these houses is complete and is now a bankable project. It was captured in the budget speech, albeit without requisite funding. I had people cheer at Kololo, but when we looked below the veil, the money wasn't there. So I would want to caution that rather than wait for the big bang approach of doing all at once when money is available, it is advisable to scale this ambition and start with modest numbers of houses at a time for our service personnel.
General MBADI, who hails from Kasese, joined Uganda People's Defense Forces in 1986. He worked in various army divisions, including being President Museveni's chief bodyguard. He pledged cohesion among the officers.
Because you made a good foundation by your predecessors, made by your predecessors, I promise that I will pick from there and then make my contribution just like everybody else has made his, but in the direction of making things better, making our force more effective, more efficient, more accountable.
The incoming Deputy Chief of Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Peter Eluelu, who is the former Commander Land Forces, commended President Museveni for the opportunity to serve the country.
I also want to give thanks to my President and Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for the trust he has always put in me. Even when the world has rejected me, he has never. He has always stayed on the path of truth. For he has nothing in him, but he has the spirit of truth.
The Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Vincent Sempija, was the chief guest at the handover ceremony. He pledged his support to the UPDF bosses to keep the peace, stability and security of the country.
All of you generals who have been promoted, on behalf of my brother Jacob, for both, and our sister who is not here, we want to wish you success in your new assignments. And on behalf of that team, I wish to pledge commitment to working together with you in pushing the UPDF from the good standing your predecessors have left it at to greater heights.
Philip Aguta, UBC News in Kampala.
And with that, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more details. This is News Tonight.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now, you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
COVID-19 kijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear a mask properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
Therefore, understanding this model. Hey, excuse me, who do you think you are? A queen?
Hey, haven't you heard? Get Airtel Chillax bundles and browse like a queen.
Get Airtel Chillax bundles that do not expire and browse like a queen or king. Dial *175# or use My Airtel app. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Fellow Ugandans, you know that the current COVID-19 period is a trying time in our lives. However, we still have another threat that has been with us for a long time, and it is called neglected tropical diseases, also known as NTDs. NTDs include bilharzia and worms that cause swollen stomachs. Trachoma causes blindness, and elephantiasis causes the swelling of legs. These diseases are affecting millions globally, and yet they can be prevented by regular hand washing with soap and clean running water, regular washing of the face with a soap and clean running water, keeping dirty hands away from your eyes, always using pit latrines and discouraging open defecation in your community to avoid flies that carry germs, reporting to the health facility early when feeling unwell. Remember to stay safe and protect yourself. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from a SAIN project.
Airtel Uganda has the best and most affordable rates when it comes to withdrawing and sending money. Withdraw money for as low as 330 shillings up to a maximum of 12,500 shillings. Sending money is just as affordable as ever. Absolutely unbeatable. Use Airtel Money on the most affordable network with the largest network of Airtel Money branches in Uganda. Dial *185# to get started. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. City traders are requesting government to allow them access downtown Kampala, collect their products from their business premises and find other means of survival in the outskirts of Kampala, capital city. I beg your pardon, the traders say that ever since the lockdown was announced, they do not have access to their shops, and as a result, their products are getting spoiled.
Despite of its impact on public health, COVID-19 has caused an economic shock, and in this report I explore the impact of COVID-19 on the small business landscape in downtown Kampala amidst the 42 days lockdown, focusing on the 3 grounds amidst cries of businessmen and women blocked to access their business premises as measures to scale down the spread of COVID-19.
Kubanga atafa abera bagenda okufiirwa tetulina byakulya esente twade tuzijja mu bintu bye tukola naye amaduuka gago magali tujja batugoba bugobi twandibadde bawuliriza ensonga zaffe ez'okubeera nga tugira.
The first leg of my probe is how are small business allowed to operate adjusting to the economic disruptions resulting from COVID-19. The findings point to the fact that there are no adjustments at all, since there would be potential buyers can't access downtown as the lockdown bites harder.
The president put it very clear for cargo to move, but for cargo to move on a truck to reach my shop, say in Container Village or Room Street, when the shop is locked, when the store is locked, that means that truck will overcharge me and I will not sell my merchandise. Some of the merchandise are perishable. So if we delay so much to offload or to open up, those merchandise will perish and I will make a loss, the government will make a loss.
My second line of investigation was whether the business community crying foul had any idea about the length of the crisis, but I've established that many of them are uncertain whether after 42 days the government will open up. But chances with the increasing numbers of people succumbing to COVID-19, the status quo is likely to go beyond the 42 days.
Funaya lero tuli bubi abetisi bakondakita ababodaboda abawereze emmere abawala abakola mu betting bona kati bali ku nguudo tebalina kyakulya.
Despite of these reactions, my presence downtown enriches the understanding of these watching the expectations of business owners at critical point in time when both the progression of COVID-19 and the government's response are quite uncertain. I spoke to small businessmen and they are now towing a line of concession, pleading with the government to consider loosening the lockdown and allow them collect their products which they say are getting spoiled.
Bajje bakiriza abasuubuzi bajjemu ebintu nesimanye bamukuhudu ala sisi wa Kampala ebbaluwa yagituusa gyalina gitwala kubanga yatugamba ebbaluwa yagenda gitwala mu kakiiko ka COVID balabenga bayamba ku basuubuzi nesimanyi oba RCC yali atuukiriza omulimu ogwo kubanga buli lwenerwawo okukolebwa abantu bagenda kufiirwa ebintu.
Traders dealing in perishable goods note that everyday lorries flow Kikubo to collect the already spoiled products for dumping.
Najjamu n'asuula n'atambula n'agenda buli waggulu nabugabo najja n'ayoola ebisaaniiko kati mulimu ebisaaniiko n'asinga kutwala ebintu ebyonoonese bye mulabaawo emmotoka n'efuluma n'egenda kati kikoledde okumala wiki nga nnamba basuula busuuzi bintu kati tubadde tusaba gavumenti ejjeggulirawo abantu batwale abalina ebyononeka baggulewo batwale ebintu byabwe.
Other city vendors like mango sellers have also appealed to the president to pardon and allow them continue operating on street since their income is based on hand to mouth.
Naye embeera gye tulimu mbi kubanga basirikale batugobaganya kanse tutulugunya tebatugulako tetulina kyakulya okiraba.
They note that they cannot stay at home when they have children to feed.
Batugamba abantu tulemwe kukola naye twebuuza tulemwe kukola tujjeeki tetuli bamufuna mpola olwenkoze lwenfuna ekyokulya n'abaana bavayo kusomero bali waka tubaliise eki bali badde bagamba nti singa bapulaninga kuggalawo bali badde bagalawo bagamba nti leero twe tugaddewo entabawa ssente naye kati wayise wiiki namba naffe tutudde tulaba nga tiwali kigenda mu maaso omwana ng'agenda kufiira mu nju n'ensalo ningamba kanzijje nkole.
Saddam Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
Well, and that does it for News Tonight. For now, I do return at 10 o'clock with more details. I'm Rhoda Ngozi. Do stick around.
Hello viewers, you are most welcome. I'm called Moses Matobu. I'm a musician from the Africa Band. I'm a composer, a singer, an arranger, and I'm a saxophonist. Basically, I started music long time ago in 1967 when I was 18 years old. And we've been passing through hardships and whatever, but we are still going on. My first band, it was called the Thunderbirds. It was the youthful band. We used to perform at White Nile Club, Kibuye, performing the teenagers dance, starting 2 p.m. up to 8 p.m. That is on Saturdays and Sundays. From there, I left the Thunderbirds because we had no instruments. I joined the Uganda Police Band in 1968. In Police Band, I used to be a singer. I was not playing any instrument. In 1969, I joined the Cranes Band. Also, Cranes Band started a long time ago in 1967. That band, it is the band which attracted us to become musicians because they were young. The band was a youthful band, and it gave us inspiration to also to become musicians. When I joined the Cranes Band in 1969 as a singer, I met the late Charlie Sechanzi, the band leader Sam Kauma, he was our drummer, Tony Senkebeje playing rhythm guitar. Then on the lead guitar it was Joseph Mungaya, on the bass it was the late Jessica Sirivu, John Clyde Mayanja, he was an organizer and playing some percussions. We had Jesse Sentamu also joined us, and he was also a singer. So that was the formation of the Cranes Band, and we are performing at the White Nile Club. At first we played for the teenagers, that is Saturday and Sunday from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then by 10 p.m. we start to play for the adults, because the teenagers we are not allowed beyond 8 p.m. So when we finish to perform to the teenagers, we wait for the adults to come in. By 10:30 we perform up to 4 a.m. in the morning. That is on every Friday, Saturday and Sundays. In 1974 we are still in the Cranes Band. Unfortunately, the band split. The Cranes Band split. Then for us, we decided to continue with the music. Myself, Tony Senkebeje, Jessica Sirivu, Charlie Sechanzi, Jeff Sewava, Anthony Cheyune, we decided to form the Africa Band. It was not easy because we had no equipment, musical equipment. We had to look here and there to look for sympathizers so that they can give us some money to buy the equipment. But it took a year and a half. Fortunately, we got Mr. Mugwanya, the late Leonard Mugwanya. He was the owner of the Bat Valley Bar and Restaurant, and he was the secretary of Uganda Electricity Board, but he was the owner of that Bat Valley Bar and Restaurant. So we talked to him because he knew us a little bit, because we used to perform at Bat Valley during when we were in the Africa, now the Cranes Band. We talked to him. He said that he would give us some money to buy equipment. Indeed, he did, and we bought some second-hand musical instruments. So our first gig, our first performance with the Afrigo Band, it was on the 1st of November 1975. That's when the band started performing at the Bat Valley Bar and Restaurant, just opposite the Novik Hospital. It is now called, it has been changing names, Little Flowers, and then it came to the new Club Obligato. It has been a long journey actually. During those years when we started, we were just performing at the Bat Valley, as I said, starting on Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Sundays, we are just going around town to perform, to maybe to beaches, parties and whatever. So we got a chance to perform at Jaja Villas, Cape Town Villas, in around Gaba, somewhere there. So when we performed there on Sundays, that's when the former president of Uganda, Idi Amin Dada, had us performing. So he got interest in the band and asked the general manager, Mr. Douglas, to ask us whether we could be a resident band at Jaja Villas. So when the manager came to us, actually with Douglas and the late Tendo. Tendo was our friend. He was the manager for food and beverages. He approached us as well, and he said that if we are interested, we can get a chance to become a resident band at Cape Town Villas. So we asked Mr. Leonard Mugwanya that we got this chance. Should we go ahead with it? He said, no problem, provided you give me my instruments, because those instruments were his. So what we did, we said, please give us about 2 months so that we see if the hotel is going to buy some equipment for the band. After about 2 months and a half, the management of Cape Town Villas gave us some new equipment, and we took back the instruments to Mr. Mugwanya. We stayed there up to 1979. That's when the government of Idi Amin was taken over. So we left the hotel. Unfortunately, all the equipments were looted. We went back to square zero. We stopped around because that was in April 1979, but we reorganized ourselves in something like November 1979. We started to look again for equipment, but they were nowhere to be seen. Some guys who looted the equipment of ours brought the equipment back to us, and we paid some money for those which could be helping us. Then we reorganized ourselves and we started to perform at Slow Boat Bar and Restaurant at Kampala Road. We started to perform that November, toward the end of November 1979, performing on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 2 p.m. up to 6 p.m. because we are still in problem. People, we are not very free around the town of Kampala and elsewhere, Kampala suburbs. So we performed there for something like a year, During that situation, it was not very easy to go around and perform. So we used to perform there. From there, we went to Amber Hotel. It was just behind Uganda Airlines offices. We based from there, and that's where we started to recruit the female singers, because for us we were only men who were playing, but according to the music of then, we had to get female singers plus some dancers. From there, we continued to perform as we were doing. When it came to 1983, we left Amber Hotel. We went to Kibuli, where we are now. We went to Kibuli to have our base, where we have our studios. We practice from there, and everything is done there. So, in short, it was not easy to pass through those days, because after the war, everything was disorganized, and for us, we were performing to people. But people also were not, as you know, they were not very free. We had problems of curfew, so people were not very free, but we tried to see how we could do with that situation. It was not very easy. After some time, maybe about 2 years, this present government came to power, but after some other government coming power, changing power and whatever. But after the NRM government came to power, we stabilized. We started to perform at places like Little Flowers, Bat Valley. We went back and started to perform regularly. We started to perform on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday we used to go around town. It was not very easy, because music as it is, some people could think that for us we are just playing music, but indeed we are playing music, but that is our source of income. Without playing, we could not live. So we said, let us persist and continue to perform. That was a long way. In 1986, 87, 88, 89, 80, it was booming, but we are performing there only on Sundays, starting at 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. But all people were coming to that place, Gaba Beach. People enjoyed, and we also got name, and we got a lot of fans. We got a chance to go to a mixed talent of Hope Mukasa. They recorded our album, Volume 8, where we recorded so many good songs. There were about 8. We had Afrigobatu Se Number 2, which was composed by Deo Mukungu. He left the band, now he's in UK. We had a song called Mundeke Berenoyo, that is my own composition, but was sung and led by Joanita Kawalia. We had Try to Agalana, a song composed and arranged by Tony Senkebeje. We had Amazige Nyama. Amazige Nyama, we just adapted it because it is a folk song from Buganda here, Sekitulege, Sekitulege. We had another song called the Mere City Day. Mere City Day, it was a hit composed by the late Tony Sengo. He was a keyboard player and a producer as well as a composer. We had Speed Control. Speed Control is my composition, and also it was good. It was a good song. Well, we had which one? There are about 7, 6. For us in the Africa Band, we have messages in our songs, because when I talk about speed control, I just want the reckless drivers to control their way of driving, so that they will reduce the accidents. There is a Mary City Day. That is, of course, it is an husband who is telling his wife to cook well, not to cook a Mary City Day. That is also an educative song. As I said, Speed Control is an educative song. We have Munde Kembere Noyo. That's a love song. Someone saying, let me stay with this one only. Twaitwagalana, it is also a love song. It is educative also. So for us in the band, we are used to such messages. Although you might sing on a love song, but also there is a certain message. Try to educate the lovers. In the band, we have the management. Also, we have principals of the band. We work as a team, not as a solo artist. For us, everyone is a star, but we used to work together as a team, as a band. So it helped us a lot, because as we are playing as a band, if we are recording, we give a chance to everyone who has a song to be included on that album. We used to travel to UK every year. At least each year we have to travel. We got a chance of recording, because in UK or US there are so many good studios and good recording engineers. So we used to produce quality music, and we had our fans who enjoyed our music. So it gave us an opportunity to be known in Uganda and outside Uganda musically. But it was not easy, because there are some problems as well in music industry, like copyright. We used to sing and record, but time came when some people don't buy the music genuinely. They were just buying maybe pirated music, and the law then was not working well. It was the government also was not helping us. Not until when the President of Uganda, His Excellency Kaguta Yoweri Museveni, who endorsed on that bill of copyright. When he endorsed it, at least we could have a say on our works. But we have been trying so hard so that we can get we get some money out of our works, but it is not very easy, because some people are just stubbornly, they know that the law is there, but stubbornly they don't want to comply. So that is the worst part of the music industry in Uganda. And I would think the government also could come in at least to see where to put us, because formerly when we as long as, from where we started from. For me, when I came to this music industry, we were under the Ministry of Culture. All the musicians, the whatever, we are under that Ministry of Culture. But now I don't know where we belong. So I would think the government could at least see and also think about it and put us under a certain ministry or tourism ministry so that we can also, with a base, because we are just there. There's nowhere you can go, you see. So I think this is the right time to think about that, because also the government is losing. Because we cannot get investors to come and invest in music industry, because the way it is done here, it cannot attract people to invest in music. Secondly, also the musicians, also we are losing a lot of money. So I would think the government could try to solve this problem. Like sports, if you talk about sports, all the associations are under National Council of Sports. But for us, we are just there. Everyone is a boss, but there is no regulator. Coming to the name of the Afrigo Band, when the Cranes Band split, for us who wanted to continue with the music, we decided to have a name of the new group we wanted to form, because we could not use the Cranes Band as our name, because it was not belonging to us. So we had to do some homework. We sat, as I told you, we are about 8 members. So we tried to do some homework. We said that, gentlemen, let us go and think about a name to be, to put it as a new group. We have to be with a new name. Everybody went at home. For me, my homework, as I got 2 names. The first one was Afri Raha. Afri, that is Africa. Then Raha, it is a Swahili song. Raha means happiness or pleasure. Afri Raha. The second one was Afrigo. Africa Go, musically, in short. So when I brought it to my colleagues, they decided to take Afrigo. That's where the name Afrigo came from. We continued to perform, and we had problems. Some of our artists passed on. Someone like Godfrey Mwambala, he was a good composer. He's the one who composed Jim, Julie, and so many others. We had also another keyboard player and producer, Tony Sengo. As I said, he's the one who composed Chiche Tunonya, Dibali Nkoko, Mere Siride, and others. We lost our drummer, Rashid Msoke, Fred Chigozi, Billy Mutebi, Paulo Serumaga, Fred Ruyombia, Charlie Sechans. So those guys were great. Akiki Mansuru is the one who taught me to blow the saxophone. Akiki Mansuru. Those guys are irreplaceable because they were good musicians. Dede Major also, we performed with him, but those guys were great. But we tried at least to bring in other new musicians, at least to continue with the work. We've been performing before the COVID came in. We used to perform at Club Obligato, the former Little Flowers, Batty Valley. We play there. We used to play there on every Saturday, but we decided to play the last Saturday of the month, once a month. Last Friday of the month, we used to perform at Governor. First Friday of the month, we used to play at Auto Spa towards Munyonyo Road. We used to perform there, and other private parties like corporate parties, birthday parties and wedding parties. It is because of COVID. When COVID came in, as you know, the control measures were given out and we could not do anything. I would like also to thank our funds. Our funds are doing a very good job to support us, because without our funds we cannot stand. And also I would like to thank our members of the band, the good work they have been doing throughout the hardship and whatever. Also would like to thank the sponsors who have been sponsoring us all the time. I'd also want to thank the management of UBC to give me a chance to come, at least to talk to our audience and our fans. It is a great work, and I thank you so much.
Of the day on UBC, brought to you by
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you